Good afternoon, all, and welcome to another episode of Beth the Chef. So, hope everyone is well. And to continue with our Halloween specials, this week we're going to make a devil's food cake. But you know what I'm like for thinking outside the box. So, this isn't just going to be any traditional devil's food cake. We're going to make a few substitutes. We're going to incorporate peanut butter into the mix, a bit of orange, and to resemble the heat of Hal and the devil, we're going to add some chili, chili chocolate. So yes, other than the flavour profile, the skills involved in this is the cake batter itself, because I'll go through it, but it's not just like a chocolate cake batter, there's a bit more to it. The icing, and definitely the decoration. So we're going to do some lovely marbled chocolate and make some chocolate shards just to add a bit of height. Similar aspect to how we got height with the leaf wheels in last week's episode. So yeah, there's a fair bit to do once again. Let's cook. So just like with pumpkin pie, really, devil's food cake is more of an American thing, an American tradition. And let's address the question that we're all thinking. What makes it a devil's food cake? What makes it different to just a standard chocolate cake or like a chocolate fudge cake? And there's different quantities of butter and eggs as opposed to a chocolate cake. But not only that, we have the aspect of Greek yogurt in there. There's a bit of bicarb as well, as well as baking powder. And this results it being more airy, more of a fluffy cake in texture. So I've gathered all the ingredients up to tackle our sponges. And the same tins as last week. We've got two of our cake tins. Right, so it's quite a lot of ingredients, so I'll go through them with you. In here, usually it's 100 grams of butter, unsalted butter, but we've mixed it up a bit. So we've got 50 grams of unsalted butter, and to make up for that bit, 50 grams of smooth peanut butter. One and a half eggs. We've got 150 mils of Greek yogurt. In here is usually it would be 25 grams of cocoa powder, but I've got 12 grams of cocoa powder and then 12 grams, or just over 12 grams of chili powder to make up to that amount. We've got 150 grams of plain flour, and this is because the yogurt and our raising agents will help it out later on in the process, which we've got here. Now, later on we're going to add a teaspoon of baking powder and just half a teaspoon of bicarb. I've got 200 grams of light soft brown sugar. And for a bit more flavour, and it'll go so well with chili chocolate, there's a juice of one orange and the zest of half an orange. So we'll get started, but what I'm going to do is create a bain-marie and melt, same way you would with a brownie, but melt the chocolate and the butters together. So I've got my bain-marie on and it's getting going, which is just the bowl and a deep saucepan of simmering water underneath. And you can do this in the microwave with 10-second blasts, but I feel like by over a bain-marie you can control the heat better. In a way it might even temper it, and yeah, you can just go by eye, and it's safer, let's say, more foolproof. For the dry ingredients, into the bowl of sugar, I'm going to mix in the flour, and the chili cocoa concoction. Into this, half the teaspoon of bicarb, and a teaspoon of baking powder. Now for the wet ingredients, this will loosen your yogurt up as well, so you can pour it in a bit better. Add the egg and the orange. Now, even though I say vanilla is like salt to savoury dishes, you know, a bit of pastry, you use it as in the same way for seasoning and to enhance flavours. I'm not adding any vanilla to the sponge. I'm going to make the icing quite vanilla-y. The chocolate's ready. And we're just gonna combine everything. So I think I'll add this into the bowl because it's very hot. Gradually mix. And go between the two so you get control of the batter. Otherwise it's going to be very thick before adding the yogurt and eggs. more of even incorporation, which as a result makes sexier cake. Orange and peanut butter smells lovely. Usually people put coffee to enhance the flavour of the chocolate in the devil's food cake. But instead of coffee, we've used the orange. Right, so I've just set the oven, preheated it to 160 Faran. Beautiful. Cake batter's all ready to go. So I'm just going to grease the tins up with some butter and some flour, some plain flour. So grease your tin well, all round the edges. Same with the other one. And if you got a little leveler for the next stage, it's even better. But we're just gonna add the cake batter into our tins. Going between the two, of course. You can see the difference in how much area it is. It's right now it almost looks like a chocolate mousse. edges. Always think if trying to recreate the cake in Matilda, the one that he eats the whole cake, could probably do. Not gonna lie. This will be that cake. Yeah. And this device just helps it create even layers, smoothing your batter out more. Another way is butter. Just to bang it a couple times. Yeah, I'm ready for the oven. Yeah, 160. Keep an eye on it, but should take between 25 and 30 minutes. So my cakes have just come out the oven and I'm leaving them on a rack to cool down. In the process, we're going to do the fudgy butter icing, and we'll get on to my favourite bit, the marbled chocolate shards. So I've gathered everything up towards the butter icing, and I've got a stainless steel bowl with the chocolate in because we're going back to the bain-marie again. So in here I've got 150 grams of dark chocolate because this cake is very chocolatey. And now I've got the vanilla extract, which we'll add later on. Again, a little bit of chili, a small teaspoon of chili powder here. I've got 50 ml of milk. And icing sugar. In here is 150 grams. But I'm just going to go over and bain-marie melt the chocolate. Chili powder. And a good splash of the vanilla. Feel free to be generous with this. Just start to come together now. Once you are pretty much there, and also to help the chocolate cool down a bit more so the butter doesn't completely melt. I'm going to add the cold milk into the chocolate. and then incorporate. So I've got everything gathered for the shards. And you need a piping bag, you need a cocktail stick. I'm going to use the microwave this time. So we've got both chocolates, preferably melted at the same time. Same idea as with the chocolate feathering, you need both, well, melted somewhat, let's say. I've got 50 grams of dark chocolate, flat tray, 200 grams of white chocolate. And what I'm going to do, I don't drop the lid. Using the seal spray again, just in order to keep it flat. Spray the tray and line with greaseproof. Now you can be quite rough with this, but just make sure it's flattened down nicely. All this does is enables you to take the chocolate off when it's set and break it into your shards. So on low heat, I'm just going to melt my chocolates. And what we're going to do is spread out the white chocolate when it's melted, dark chocolate in the piping bag, add little blobs of it. With the cocktail stick, we go all artistic. But this will all make sense when you see it. So our chocolate's melted and we're ready. Just popping it into the piping bag. Gorgeous white chocolate. Using another palette knife, just going to spread. It's always so satisfying. Thick, but at the same time you don't want it too thin. So make sure you can't see the bottom of the tray. Going to cut a little hole, very small hole. And yeah, just very loose blobs around, because the art of our cocktail stick make magic happen. Yeah. And whatever pattern you desire, feel free to do your thing. Do. Yeah, elevates your desserts a hell of a lot. You get the thinness design. And just leave it to set. It shouldn't take long. If you want to speed the process up a bit, feel free to use the fridge. Now we're ready to decorate. So I'm just going to carefully get a sponge. Half of our icing on there. And I'll go to just before the edge of the cake, because you don't want it to spillage. And I'm using a plate because this is, with the chocolate shards, it's going to add a lot of height. Probably too much height for a cake box. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. Here's the chocolate is all set now. And just break shards, do big shards, small shards. Break it all up, get artistic. And you'll soon see what I mean by just making the cake look all that more indulgent, let's say. So I'm going to try and move the plate around as we go. But here we have it. So our ultimate devil's food cake, which has some orange, peanut butter and chili chocolate, with our marbled chocolate shards. Have fun portioning that one. Join us next week where I have set a challenge for myself because I don't like to make life easy, and are going to do some eyeball shoe buns or cracklings. I know. Spread the word, the chef, and bon appetit.